Wordiful was really created out of a lack of connection to not only my community, but I was lacking connection to myself.
I feel the responsibility with my social media, with everything that I do, to share something positive, to have a mission.
It just made a shift in my perspective. So instead of thinking life is happening to me, it's actually happening for me.
What up, y'all? And welcome to another episode of Chiquis and Chill. I'm your host, Chiquis, and I hope your week is off to a great start. I am still in the midst of moving, and I have to tell you, it is a pain in the ass. But I'm going to take a deep breath, and we're going to have fun today, and we're going to be positive. That's what this episode is all about today. So let me speak words. Like, instead of saying it's a pain in the ass, it is going to be fine. It will be fine. That's what I'm going to say. Because like I said, today's episode is all about positivity. And if you know me, you know positivity and positive thinking is a huge part of my life. I share with you guys on my social media. It's important for me to share quotes. Even if I'm having a bad day, I tell you guys I'm having a bad day. And I'm like, you know what? Everything is going to be okay. Everything happens for a reason. It might sound a little cliche. I always say that, but I really, truly believe in the power of words. Okay. And to speak about this a little more, we have none other than Liz Hernandez. You might know her from her radio days on Power 106, or maybe from MTV, E! News, or Access Hollywood. She's done so many things. And one of my favorite things is Wordiful, you guys. So she's here. Welcome, Liz.
Chiquis, thank you. I love that you are able to put a positive spin. I always call it a positive perspective on moving. So I'll share a little. I'll share a little bit of what might help.
Okay.
Anytime that I've had to move, you think about the fact that you have to touch every single thing you own. Mm-hmm. Think about that, from the knives and forks to the shoes, to the pillows, to whatever in your bathroom drawers. And there's an opportunity to find gratitude in all of that, because you're literally touching everything that you've accumulated in the span of your lifetime.
You know what, Liz? See, now even just speaking to her, I feel like she's calm. Like you hear in her voice. She's just like, hey, everything's going to be all right. Without having to say it, I'm like, oh, you're right. And it's so true, because you know, you do find so many things. You have gratitude. You find the gratitude, like you said, in the things that you have and the things that you've accumulated, that you've been able to buy. And then also to be able to just release things too. You know, I believe a lot in energy and stuff. So for me, it was important to get the house painted, to get rid of things that I no longer use, to give away things.
Open up space.
Open up space. Exactly.
Yeah. Marie Kondo is like one of my favorite teachers when it comes to giving gratitude for the things you no longer need, letting them go, so you create space for the things that spark joy.
Yes. Yeah. That's what's happening right now, you guys. That's what's happening right now. You know what? But I finally got the kitchen going, so I feel better about it. Now everything is in its place. And I'm that type of person that if things are just, especially my personal life, my room, my home, I feel like everything else is chaotic. So that's why I had to take the weekend. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to get this done, because I have a conversation with Liz and I want to be in the right headspace.
Well, first, congratulations on your move too. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
You.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I want to start off by telling everyone, you know, how I know of Liz. You know, I know Liz from Power 106. I would listen to her in the morning with Big Boy, you know, here in LA. It's like a huge, actually everywhere, right? It was like huge everywhere.
Syndicated, correct.
Syndicated,
yeah.
Yes, it was syndicated.
But LA was our home. This is like, it's like when you play for the home team, you know, it's like, think of it like baseball. Like you can go to other cities and play, but you're never going to be as celebrated as you are in your hometown.
Absolutely. So that's how I heard of Liz. I was like, okay. And then I saw her on television. And then on Instagram, I was scrolling, and I'm all about, like, you know, like I said, quotes and looking up even like hashtag positive. And I came across Wordiful, which she's going to tell you guys a little bit more about. And then she invited me on Wordiful to be a special guest. And I chose the word legacy. Legacy is a dream, a gift passed down from generation to generation. Legacy is the footprint you leave on this earth to show you were here. So that was fun. I wrote the whole thing. I met her for the first time. I was like, oh my gosh, she's so pretty, you know? And I was like, oh my God, this is so nice. I love this. I love what it's all about. I'm all about it. And then it so happened to be that She is really good friends, and I should say they call each other big sister and little brother with Emilio. You guys know my boyfriend. So now it's like it's crazy because did I do that episode before actually I met him?
I think
right.
What's so crazy is I think you came in to record that episode either the day before you met or the weekend you guys met, which is pretty, I mean, that's synchronicity in itself.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think I want to say, wait, when did you guys meet again? Remind me.
March 1st.
March 1st.
So I think it was for sure before I met him. And then I think you uploaded it
the weekend after you met him.
Exactly. Yes. Sorry, I'm putting everything together, you guys.
Yeah, we're creating a timeline here, people.
Yes. Sorry, guys. So here it is. It's live. It's real. So that's how I know her, and we follow each other on Instagram, and we comment on each other's things. And I just want you to know that I admire you. I think you're so awesome. Everything that you post. I love the aesthetic of your Instagram. I know you believe in Palo Santo and like sage and all that stuff, so I just want to tell you, I feel very connected to you.
Thank you. And it's mutual. I think you gravitate towards people whose energy is in common with, that you can relate to, and you see certain things you have in common, and you understand their practices, and energy, like they say, energy never lies, and it's always nice. And I so appreciate just that you are always sending out positivity to your community. I appreciate everything you've shared from Wordiful. That means a lot, especially from, someone like myself who is another Latina. You look at other women that look like you or represent you, and it's always nice when your own community embraces you.
Oh, absolutely. I do it from the bottom of my heart. I love what you're doing. And now that we're talking about Wordiful, I want you to tell us, what is Wordiful? What is it to you? What did you want to accomplish when you created and you came up with Wordiful?
So I'll give you the really short rendition because it can get a little lengthy, but Wordiful was really created out of a lack of connection to not only my community, but I was lacking connection to myself. It was I was hired in entertainment television. I was going into primetime television for Access Hollywood at the time. And right around then, my mom was diagnosed with dementia. I was really trying to find my footing. I had left radio, and radio was my first love. And I loved that we could tell stories and the phones would light up. And obviously there was that connection we had to so many amazing things that happened in LA, whether it was a Lakers parade, whether it was, Dodger games. There was just so much happening in our big, beautiful city. And it was nice to be able to share in those experiences. And then once I got into television, I realized that storytelling only became a one-way street. There was no phone lines lighting up. There was no, you could give, but you weren't really receiving. And so I just decided it would be really great if I could create a small platform. At the time, it was just one of those, like, I'll just create a YouTube channel and talk about the power of words. And it was meaningful to me because I had always had a belief ever since I read the 4 agreements about be powerful with your words. And my mom was beginning to lose her speech. I felt very alone, even though it should have been a time when I was feeling accomplished, and I didn't feel that way at all. And so out of all these little factors came this little YouTube channel. And that's really how it started, almost like in a small little basement. And it just grew from there.
And what inspired you? It was just that, like everything that was going on, or you just felt like you wanted to have that connection with someone?
It's crazy how it's evolved over time. It started with, let me just take one word. Like in the beginning, I talked about, actually the first word I launched with was connect, and just how powerful it is when we're able to connect through our storytelling, because that's my ultimate foundation, is that we're all here to have this human experience, and we connect through love and we connect through pain. And so if I was able to just take one word and talk about what I was learning from that word, maybe how we were misusing that word, what that word meant to me, I just thought I could get back to the storytelling that I did in radio, but just go a little bit deeper, make it only 60 seconds so that it's digestible, because, we're moving in a fast-paced world where our attention span is, really not there anymore. And it's interesting because it started as that, and then it started evolving. It's the more life was happening to, I don't like to me, happening for me. You know, my mom was starting to lose the battle with Alzheimer's, and my relationship at the time was starting to unravel. I wasn't happy at my job. I didn't realize that Wordiful was becoming a place where it was like a diary. It was a therapy. It was a confessional. And it just started to evolve more into, let me use my life as a lesson. Let me show other people that they're not alone, that this happens to everyone. How can I be useful? How can I share the hurt and pain and not let it all go in vain? And, you know, not every episode is heavy. You know, there's obviously positive lessons to be learned as well. But I just try to use that one word in every episode as the catalyst for the bigger story.
And that's what I love right now, what you said and you mentioned about the fast-paced world that we're living in and how everyone's attention span is getting shorter and shorter. And that's why for me, I feel like the responsibility with my social media, with everything that I do, to share something positive, to have a mission behind it, not just to do something to sell it, not just, you know, even in my makeup, you know, the names of the lipsticks or the names of the palettes, to me, it's like there's a story behind everything. And that's what I love about Wordiful. I feel like it's every time I come across it, I come across one of your videos, I feel like it's just a breath of fresh air. You know, I'm just like, oh, this is what I need. And it never fails. It's something it doesn't matter what it's about. It could be happy. It could be, like you said, connect, anything. I'm like, oh, it's a nice reminder. And this is why I share it, because it's so important for us not to lose substance in this world that is so consumed with things that aren't real. Fast
pace, disposable, yeah, not authentic. I completely agree. And
superficial.
Yeah, no. And thank you. I love that you say that it resonates, because a lot of times you do question, you know, is this going to make sense for other people? But what I've learned is, and there's a great quote that I learned this from, and I believe it's from Ram Dass. He says, the greatest gift I can give to you is to work on myself, and the greatest gift you can give to me is to work on yourself. So I'm not ever trying to get on a soapbox and say, like, this is what you should do. Like, that's literally the last thing I'm trying to do. I'm trying to say, this happened to me. Here's what I learned from it, or here's how it's still hurting me, or here's where I need to grow up and mature. I'm not exempt from any of the things that you're going through. Maybe it just looks a little bit different, but we're all going to lose somebody we love. We're all going to get our heart broken. We're all going to be betrayed. We're all going to be the betrayer. We're all going to, it's that human experience that no one is exempt from. And so if I can just help someone along that journey to, like I said, feel less alone and to feel heard and to feel seen, that's what Wordiful is all about. It's connecting through the power of storytelling.
That's beautiful. And I love that Emilio he considers you one of his best friends, because
I love that boy.
I know. And he loves you so much. And the fact that he has someone that he can speak to and is going to give him good advice, you know, because even with the short time that he's been in my life, he's helped me so much. And that's exactly right now when you said, you know, the best gift that I can give you is working on myself. That's what we try to do. It's like, I can only be the best version of myself every single day. And so can you. It's like, we're not each other's responsibility. And it's just, how can I be better in my relationship? You know what I mean?
We're always better by example. I mean, really how me and Emilio bonded. I mean, we became quick friends, but really we bonded over heartbreak. We were both going through heartbreak at the same time. And again, the power of sharing our stories and being able to relate to one another and to be able to show up for one another as friends really cemented our friendship. And it's so easy to tell someone what they should do. I always say should is a shame word. It's so easy to tell someone, well, you should do this or you should do that. And really that time could be better spent looking at myself and saying, how can I be a walking example instead of pointing my finger and telling someone how to live their life.
Right. Ooh, you guys. Hope everyone's listening very closely. I'm definitely, I'm definitely learning a lot already, and it's crazy because it's just confirmation for me that I'm like, okay, wait, we're on the right track. We're doing the right thing, and sometimes you do get a little distracted with everything that's going on with work, but at the end of the day, what is important is your perception of life and what you're here to do more than anything. Like, what footprint, what imprint are you going to leave in people's life in this world? And I think you're doing a wonderful job with that. You left the entertainment business for Wordiful, or how did that go about, Liz?
It just started. I always say there was one day where I was standing on stage and I felt completely out of alignment with what I was doing. I was telling this story about a celebrity's tattoos, and my mom was on hospice, literally dying. And I'm thinking, what am I doing? I'm standing here in full hair and makeup, and is this my message out into the world? And I was just watching just the time move forward. And I'm thinking I should be with my mother. And it just all these, it's kind of like when they say the stars align. The stars aligned where I couldn't ignore the fact that really where I wanted to be spending my time was creating my own company that meant so much to me and spending that time with my mother, more than anything, spending that time with my mother. And then I could focus on Wordiful after. But I just knew that I couldn't spend another day doing anything else.
Oh, I'm taking a deep breath because sometimes I think about that. I'm like, I use like my music and everything that I do as a vehicle to reach more hearts, more people. But at the end of the day, like on my vision board, it's something completely different. Because sometimes I feel that the industry that I'm in, if you are not aligned, if you're not centered and you don't do it every single day, it can really, really drag you into a deep hole if you allow it. And I have to be intentional every single day of centering myself, meditating, and making sure that I am okay inside, mentally, emotionally. And not every day I am. There are days that I'm just having a bad day, and I just have to also embrace those feelings and say, okay, where is this coming from? And try to dig and find, the solution to it. Sometimes there's no solution. Sometimes you just got to feel it.
Sometimes, yeah, that's part of being human, the human experience. Like I said, it's a privilege to feel the sadness. It's a privilege to feel the pain because that is part of being here and part of, like I said, the experience of being a human being.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't want to accept maybe that they have either depression or anxiety or they are going through something. It's like, no, I gotta show face and I'm just strong. And no, I mean, there's so much beauty and so much to learn from someone being able to be vulnerable and say, hey, I'm a human that's also going through this. I also feel, and I think that it's good to have people like you that are like, hey, I was on Access Hollywood, on E! News, on Power 107. But you know what? This is now my mission. I think that that's beautiful. I think it's inspirational. I love it. I think that you're amazing.
Well, thank you. Well, I really attribute it to my mom. I think we believe we have plenty of time. We just walk around with this illusion of, oh, I have so much time. I'm young and I have time. And the truth is we don't know. We really don't know how much time we have. And so I try to remind myself of that every single day and look at the people in my life as teachers. I'm excited for even you and Emilio. You guys are each other's teachers. And as with any relationship, it's like, it's so exciting in the beginning and it's very romantic, but that's the glue that brings us together. So then we can also reveal our vulnerabilities and our wounds. I always say relationships are the best classrooms because you learn the most about yourself. You learn the most about yourself in the most beautiful way because you can never, it doesn't matter where you go, there you are. And so the things that we don't like about ourselves or the wounds that we're still trying to cover up, that person is going to get a front row seat to it. And are we willing to love them and help them grow through it? Or are we going to allow even ourselves, are we going to allow ourselves to be loved through it? Or are we going to just let our insecurities and our fears push that person away or sabotage before we can get to the good stuff? Because that happens a lot of times.
Oh, it does. Absolutely. Liz, explain how one word and changing it can affect your mindset.
Well, one of my favorite sayings is, a lot of times when something goes awry, we'll say, why is this happening to me? Why does this keep happening to me? Or, right away we want to blame life or the universe or even ourselves. And it's just simply changing that perspective of, instead of saying, why is this happening to me? We can say, I'm grateful this is happening for me, because there's always a lesson in there. I'll tell you a story that happened to me once. I was on the 405. It's jam-packed traffic and I get a flat tire and I have to pull over, and I'm thinking, okay, how am I, you're trying to keep calm. And I just thought, how is this going to play out? Right away, I go into gratitude. I'm grateful that I have AAA.
Yes.
And instead of saying, why is this happening to me? Why in the middle of primetime traffic? Why on the 405? Why am I getting a flat tire? I just thought, this is life happening for me. Maybe if I would have kept going, I would have gotten into a bad accident. And this was God's way of pulling me over. And it just made a shift in my perspective. So instead of thinking life is happening to me, it's actually happening for me.
And yeah, my goodness. And it makes, honestly, and it just reminded me of something. I read it, I don't know, a few weeks ago, where it said, oh, a lot of us say, I have to go to work. I have to do this. And it's like, no, I get to go to work. I get to
what you were
bills.
saying about, I have to move. You get to move.
Yeah,
that's a major
you're right.
luxury, you get to.
I get to. And you're right. It's like, now I'm like, okay. Where and I think it's something that's every day, right? I mean, are there times, Liz, that you just kind of, you catch yourself being not negative, but not on the right positive frequency?
Absolutely all the time. Again, what we're talking about, I'm just human. I have a strong practice of gratitude journaling. Every morning I gratitude journal, and my bounce back ratio is a lot higher, because as soon as I feel myself starting to, the hamster starts going on the wheel of like, well, this, and this, and I can feel it complaining, gratitude is the antidote. Always. Okay, what is this here to teach me? What is happening for me that I may not see right now? And sometimes things just happen. That's life. But there's something to be learned from it. We get stronger from it. We become more resilient. We learn not to do it the same way again the next time. So it's all perspective and how you want to see it. And, earlier I was even talking about that word should. It's a lot of times in our heads, we're saying, oh, I should work out. I should eat better. I shouldn't have done this. I should. And the more shoulds you add to the conversation in your head, the more shaming is going on to yourself. It's not loving self-talk. And a lot of times when we should ourselves, we end up shitting on other people. Because that voice in our head doesn't stop. Well, you should do this and you should do that. And so again, the best thing I can do is work on myself. So I try to remind myself, okay, am I giving myself a shame list of all the things that I need to be doing? And instead, maybe I can switch the language, the words, and say, I will go for a run when it feels good, or I will eat good tonight or tomorrow, or just make those little transitions, those little steps that can show myself a little bit more compassion.
Yeah, that's exactly compassion and understanding. And like you said, not judging ourselves or others. And I'm always one to say and to practice, like, speaking words of life and not of death. In church, I learned that when I was young, because I always say, the power of the tongue. Yeah. So I learned that. I'm like, wow, it's true. It's and now I use it every single day. I'm like, okay, wait, like it takes practice, you guys. It's little by little, it's not like it's going to be perfect every single time, and that's one thing I try to remind myself as well, because I'm very hard on myself.
Same.
But yeah, right. I am very hard on myself. I'm somewhat of a perfectionist, and I'm like, no, I want to do things right. But sometimes it's okay to make mistakes. That's how you learn. And just always speaking words of life. What does that mean, for instance? What does it mean to you, Liz, actually? Speaking words of life.
Yeah, they say that life and death is spoken through the power of the tongue. So one of my favorite teachers that I've learned from is Dr. Emoto, and he did the study on water. Think of yourself as flowing a flowing river, right? Our bodies are made up of 70% water.
Mm-hmm.
And so every time I tell myself, oh, you're such an idiot, you're so dumb, you could have done it different. Anytime I speak unloving words to myself, I'm literally polluting my water, making it hazardous inside of my system. And every time I'm loving to myself, every time I'm like, I love you, I got your back, you're smart, you're worthy, you're beautiful, I'm purifying my water. I'm creating life inside of me. And Dr. Emoto did these studies where he actually put labels on water to prove this scientifically. And he did. He put these waters and they froze them into crystals. And when he put words like you're beautiful, I love you, love and gratitude was shown to be two of the strongest words. They froze into these beautiful, beautiful crystals. And the waters that are the crystals that he froze, that he put the words like, I hate you, I want to kill you, you're dumb. They froze into these like dark, deformed crystals. And so the same thing is happening inside of us when we speak to someone that way and when we speak to ourselves that way. So always think, when you're being hard on yourself, am I purifying my water or am I polluting it?
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes. So you guys, as you know, Liz is saying, it is very important to not only speak beautiful words to yourself, but to others. I always have different, I change them out. I don't have them right now, but I have to actually put them up. Little Post-its of things that I need to work on, trust the process. I have this whole thing with trust, and it's every day. It's something that I have to work on. And it reminds me every single day, trust the process. It is safe for you to love and to be loved, because let me tell you, sometimes I've gotten hurt so much that I'm like, oh, wait, am I going to be safe here? But I need to allow myself to experience love because I deserve it, because I am worthy. And all these things, I'm telling you guys, it's practice. And only you know what it is that you're working on, what you need to work on. And you write it on a Post-it and you put it, like, that's what I do. I brush my teeth, and as you're brushing my teeth, I'm reciting those things in my head, and then I say them out loud, and it just makes me have just a better day. So,
yeah. And not every day is going to be perfect. We have to be compassionate with ourselves when we mess up, or, when we recognize old patterns that we've learned in childhood that we still use in adulthood because we think they still work and they don't. I'm talking to myself right now. And I was really judging myself the other day, because I was like, why, we say that popular saying, why am I like this? And I thought, God, I'm not being very nice to myself. I need to say, I'm learning.
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh, me too. I'm learning. Oh my God. Well, that's a whole other conversation. We'll have to go to lunch, you and I, and talk about other things that I was about to talk about, but I'm like, you know what? No. We'll talk about that in private.
I love it.
So given the topic of today's episode, I wanted to do something a little different and a little fun. We're going to play a word association game. Ooh, are you ready, Liz?
I'm ready.
I didn't even ask you, but are you down to play?
Of course.
Okay, so here's how it's going to work. I'm going to say a word, and you'll have 10 seconds to shout out a word or a phrase that comes to mind. Okay, 10 seconds. For example, if I say the word family, you might say mother or father. So yeah, does that sound good?
That sounds great.
All righty, here we go. 2021.
The year of personal growth.
Ooh, okay.
I did a lot of growing in 2021. A lot. It was very uncomfortable, but I did a lot.
That was last year for me. Oh my goodness. Okay, 2022.
Love, abundance, and continued growth.
Los Angeles.
Home.
Social media.
Connection. I try to still see the good in it. I really believe it is there to connect us. If a friend of mine said, use the internet, don't let the internet use you. And I try to still always keep that in mind. Like, I'm there to have this as a tool to connect me to the people that otherwise I wouldn't be connected to. Like, even you and I, we've actually have grown a bond through social media.
Yeah, I like that. It's a positive way of looking at it. Social media, connecting with others. I'm snapping my fingers for that one.
Yeah.
Okay, fear.
The absence of love.
Oh, okay. Joy.
Joy.
Albóndiga. That's her dog.
The first thing that popped into my mind is just friendship. The friendships I have, they bring me my ultimate joy. They are the family we get to choose for ourselves. And I'm so grateful that every single person that is in my circle helps me grow, and they bring me joy. Like, there's not one friend that calls me on my caller ID where I look and go, ugh, I don't want to pick up. Every single person I'm like so excited to talk to, because they bring their joy to me.
I got to do some cleaning on that. So there's one or two that I'm like, oh, dang, maybe not right now. Oh, God. Well, good thing I didn't say names. Anyways, okay, here we go. Manifestation.
Manifestation. What I think of is just the power within. I think we're all manifestors, and it's that gift, I believe, that we've been given by God to. It's the power of choice, the power to create our lives and to really attract to us the things that we feel we're worthy of.
I love that, and I'm gonna quickly say something, because so many people believe that, yes, our life is already written out for us. I choose to believe the only thing was the day we were born and perhaps the day that we pass, but we choose with everyday choices what route our life is going to take, what our destiny is going to look like, depending on the choices that we make. But anyways, I just wanted to piggyback on that, because yes, the power of manifestation, of telling you, I'm all about visualizing and vision boards and really manifesting your life, and what you desire, what you want.
We're all born into different circumstances, obviously, but I believe at some point we do have the power of freedom. I think that's the biggest gift, God gave to us, is that we can always choose to love. We can always choose to think higher. We can always choose to think positively. But that's why it's so important that we find the right friends, the right mentors, the right environments to help us grow. But it is a choice. It's not always an easy choice, but it's a choice.
It's a choice. I like that. I like having a choice. Okay, Mondays.
I think of motivation. The Wordiful community has Motivation Mondays. And so every Monday we get online and we remind each other of what our intention is for the week. And for me, that's something I look forward to, because it helps me as well. Keeps me focused for the rest of the week. I know some people don't like Mondays. I actually love Mondays.
Yeah. Okay. See, me too. It's just like, okay, fresh start. And
exactly.
I have Motivation Monday too here. So that's cool. Okay. So we have 3 more. We have strength.
I think of my mom. I think having to endure Alzheimer's was the ultimate act of strength for a woman, having this beautiful life of having her daughters, and then, yeah.
Yeah. Your mom. Latina.
Pride. I just think of pride. I think of how much resilience. I think resilience. I think strength, what we just talked about. Yeah. But mostly pride. I feel so much pride in being a Latin woman. Yeah.
Me too. Okay. The last one, beauty.
Peace within yourself. Because beauty is something someone brings to us with who they are, not what they look like.
Completely agree. Okay, so you wanted to do a game, right?
Yes. So Wordiful is launching the Wordiful game. It's called No Room for Small Talk, and it's A through Z. So because, we're doing the podcast, people won't be able to see, but normally you would roll a dice and it would land on a category A through Z. So I want you to pick which letter you want.
Oh my goodness.
Pick which letter.
Okay, I will. Okay, E.
E, and then choose 1 through 5.
3.
What is the most exciting part of your life right now?
Oh my goodness. The most exciting part of my life right now, I'd have to say my relationship.
I love that you said that. I was hoping you'd say that.
It's that. Honestly, I mean, moving into a new home is exciting, but I'm doing it with someone, So I would have to, my relationship, I'm growing so much. I'm learning so much about myself. It's like almost like I thought, okay, I kind of have it all together, because I was always the quote unquote better person in the relationship. And with Emilio, he does therapy every week. He's very we all have our little things, but he has taught me so much. And the fact that he's younger than I am, it's like sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like a little girl. Like I'm like, yeah, he's just so wise.
He's an old soul, I can tell for sure.
He's an old soul for sure. And sometimes he just looks at me. He's like, Janae, he's the only one that can calm me down and just look into my eyes and tell me, just relax. Look, and he walks me through it. And no one has ever done that. And it's kind of crazy because I let my guards down. So that's what it is. Yeah, it's my relationship. That's crazy.
I know. That's so sweet. That's the biggest compliment to the work you're both doing together and to the bond that you're creating with one another. So that's how the game works. Beautiful. And then I would roll and you would ask me a question. So it's all about creating connection. And again, none of these questions are, I would say, light. That's why it's called No Room for Small Talk. But I'll send you and Emilio a game so you guys can play together.
I'm so excited. Okay, right in time for the Christmas, and it's a great gift. Love it. Okay, so that was fun. Thank you, Liz. You made me open up my heart here with you. It's almost time to say goodbye, but before you go, let's leave listeners with a bit of inspiration. And today is Motivational Monday, so I'd like to share a quote. The quote is, "Words are magic. Our words have so much power and we don't even realize it. Your words have the ability to transform your life and the life of others. Be impeccable with your word. Mean what you say and speak with intention." Is there anything that you'd like to share and leave our listeners with?
Just be loving with your self-talk. I think that's the most important. What we were speaking on earlier, like the greatest gift I can give to you is to work on myself. And the greatest gift you can give to me is to work on yourself.
Liz, I'm going to listen, I think, to this episode over and over and over. And I hope everyone that's listening will too. Thank you so much. Honestly, it was a pleasure to speak to you on a different level. We always comment on each other's things and we send things through GM, and hopefully we can sit down and have lunch together.
Yes.
But thank you for taking the time to do this, and let people know, please, where they can find Wordiful.
Thank you. No, and let me just say thank you for inviting me onto your podcast. I mean, I already feel like we're family because it's all in the family. So I do appreciate this interview. Thank you so much, Chiquis. People can find Wordiful. It's WORDAFUL, and you can find it on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Wordiful.com. And if it's easier to find me, I'm at Liz Hernandez.
Love it. You guys, thank you for listening to another episode of Chiquis and Chill. And I'll see you guys next week. This is a production of iHeartRadio and My Cultura Podcast Network. Follow us on Instagram at My Cultura Podcasts and follow me, Chiquis, that's CHIQUIS. For more podcasts from iHeart, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.